Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, with a coffee today. So, hello, gosh, feels like ages since I've spoken to you all sort of live, but it's only been a couple of days, hasn't it? But I hope you're all well. I hope you're all getting back into the routine after Christmas and New Year. I've been back doing classes this week and sort of slowly, working out what day it is now. Because for so long I just didn't know hardly what day it was. So I'm just about getting back into the old routine now. So I hope let me know how you're all getting on. I hope your new year has started off well. My new year has started off okay, but unfortunately, I have lost a friend, and also another friend has lost a husband. So I'm going to a funeral tomorrow, which won't be very nice. But that just tells you, doesn't it, how you have to appreciate every day, and all those little things that irritate us. Really, they don't matter so much, do they, in the grand scale of things, because there's always other things. So so what I'm going to talk about tonight, of course, because today is the 10th of January. And 1 year ago today, this is when the welfare check, the police were called out and the ambulance was called out for Nicola Bulley. For anyone out there who doesn't know about the case of Nicola Bulley, because I have to remember that sometimes, new subscribers, etc., not everybody knows about this case. So last January, Nicola Bulley, who's a mother of two, 45-year-old mother of two, dropped her children off at school, took her dog for a walk in the usual place by the river in St. Michael's on Wyre, and disappeared without a trace and was not found until 21 days later, when she was found sadly in the river, deceased. So now what I'm going to do is I have a playlist, a Nicola Bulley playlist. I can't explain, God, there's been that many things that have happened over this year. I can't go into the details of everything. But the reason I'm doing this, you might think, well, because it was the 27th of January when she actually went missing, and today is the 10th of January. But it was on this, it transpired eventually, we found out eventually, that on the 10th of January, a welfare check team had been called out to Nicola's home, and Nicola had been interviewed by a mental health professional, and apparently Nicola was acting very strangely. Now, there's so much controversy about this welfare check, because originally it was said that Louise, her sister, had phoned the ambulance. That was what was said at one point. And then that was what was said at the inquest. And then later on the police review of this case, it said that Paul Ansell, her partner, phoned the ambulance. And that is just typical of everything confusing in this case. There's been so many things said, so many conflicting things. That's what's why it's still being talked about all this time on. People don't feel that it feels right. As I say, I have a Nicola Bulley playlist, so you can look at that for the full story, because literally, if I was to start to talk about everything that's happened over this past year in this particular case, I literally, take me a day. So that's why I'm doing this video today, because today is exactly a year since the welfare check. And the other reason that the welfare check is important is originally when Nicola's partner was being interviewed, he described Nicola as a rock. There was no, that we were told by the police as well in the beginning that there was no reason to worry that anything might have happened to Nicola untoward. There was nothing, they felt that she had gone into the river, but they they didn't feel that there was any circumstances that would make them feel that. And then all these things came out later. So that's why it caused so much, what's the word? So much speculation. You know, you tell somebody not to speculate, but then it turns out that everything is wrong that you've been told, and it's actually something else. So that's why I'm on live today talking about this, because I was thinking about, and I was thinking, what was last Christmas like in that household? You know, because to me, and just an opinion, it seems to me that it was over the Christmas period, not this Christmas, obviously just gone, but the Christmas before, that things started to go wrong. You know, there was the family reported that there was a blip over Christmas because apparently Nicola had these problems with alcohol and menopause, etc. But again, that didn't come out till later. And in fact, those problems were talked about, made public before Nicola had even been found. So, or her body had been found. So nobody knew she could have been alive listening to people discussing her mental health issues and alcohol problems, supposed alcohol problems, etc. So I feel that this call out on the 10th of January is very key to whatever happened to Nicola, whatever you believe that happened to her. I think this is absolutely key, because the other thing that happened was the following day, Nicola had to go to A&E for a head injury and have a scan. So, you know, which she told apparently a friend that she slipped on the dog's water and banged her head. So I don't know, but you know, to me, any one of these things in themselves is not that, you know, surprising, astounding, worrying. But when you put everything together over this case, then yes, it is. So there's a few things I'm going to show you tonight. Some things that other people think about this. Some things I'm going to talk a little bit about the what happened, like about because then the police supposedly investigated themselves over this welfare check, because you know that's something they have to do, because if they do a welfare check on someone who later then turns up dead, basically, and there's some, you know, they have to account for, you know, whatever happened in that welfare check. And the other thing is that apparently the body cam of the officer who was called to that welfare check was turned off, if you believe it, you know. So anyway, we're going to look at all that. But first of all, I just want to say hello to everybody quickly. And see, while I was wittering on there, there's a lot of you there. So hi Maria, hi David, hi Julie, hi Blank Faces, hi Julie Dawn, hi Amethyst, hi Princess, hi Gail, hi Nick, hola Nick, hi Carla, hi Bridget, hi Chumba. It feels like I haven't seen you all for ages. Hi Charlie, hi Sky, hi Maltese. I think it was 21 days later, Bridget, but I can't check it exactly just yet. I think it was 21 days later, but somebody will put us right. Sorry to hear you've not been well, Gail. Hope you're feeling better. Yes, I've got the photo of the headstone to show Julie. I saw that on the Facebook pages. But they, anyway, I'll look at that in a minute. Where are we? Maltese, I've said hello to, I think. Hi, Essex Boys Outlaw. Charming as usual. Hi, Heather. Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Olivia. New chatter, I think. Hi. Hi, Ely. Hi, Exotic Doll. Hi, Amanda Jane. Okay, so I think I've more or less said hello to everybody who's on the chat. Hello to anybody who's watching at home as well. I know not everybody likes to join in the chat. Some people like to just watch. So hello to you as well, and thank you for watching. So, right. So the first thing I want to show you is a little poem which was on one of the Facebook groups today. And this is a poem that was written by a poet, poetess, or let's have a look at it. I can show it you on here. So it's on her Facebook page. I hadn't seen this poem before, so I'm very grateful to have shared it on the Facebook page as well, on one of the Nicola Bulley groups. I'm very grateful to them for sharing this because I hadn't seen it. Now, this lady, Heartfelt, she has a Facebook page that you can go on, and she is a poet, and I don't know if she does her own illustrations or not, but she does all sorts of poetry and books of poetry, etc. So it's a very interesting page to look at just in general. But this particular poem, you can see that she posted on the 20th of February last year. And it's a poem from Willow, and I may cry. I just want to tell you that. I'm going to try not to cry. I've read it a couple of times and cried. So I'll try not to cry when I'm actually reading it this time while I'm actually on live. But so, I mean, it's a beautiful photo. You've got the bench there, and this, I suppose, is representing Willow and the river, etc. I sat beside the riverbank as I waited for your return. I only ran off to chase fresh air, as dogs won't ever learn. I knew I was going to cry. I barked for you to hear. I even sniffed your scent. God, what's wrong with me? But still, I could not find you. I wondered where you went. I waited for so long, and I waited with such hope. I kept following your trail, but it ended at the slope. I heard voices call your name, but there was no one there. Yet I could hear them call, shouting from a chair. I was glad when someone came, but I wished it would have been you. I still wait beside the door, wishing you would come through. Willow. Oh, so sad. But it's such a beautiful poem. So anyway, I wanted to read that out before I start. Because for anyone who doesn't know, anyone, as I say, who maybe doesn't know this case, Nicola's dog was just sort of running around loose. Where she, at the point, well, we presume that she disappeared because we don't know exactly. There was supposedly a 10-minute window where nobody knows what Nicola was doing, supposedly. And Willow was then found at that point. And, you know, as I say, look at you need to look at the playlist because going to the whole thing would just take too long. So I think that's a beautiful poem. So I just wanted to start with that. Did nearly get through it without crying. Nearly. Okay, now then, what I'm going to do now is to tell you what a welfare check means, if you like, because I personally, this still sort of resonates with me. Why you would, to me, to ring for an ambulance for your partner or your sister, whoever it was who rang for the ambulance, because we still don't know for sure. As I say, at the inquest, they said that her sister rang for the ambulance, and in the police review, the College of Policing review, it says that Paul, her partner, rang for the ambulance. Whoever rang for the ambulance, to me, to ring for an ambulance for your family member, that is, that's serious. If your family member's just drunk and saying stupid things, you wouldn't ring for an ambulance, would you? You ring for an ambulance, you would be worried about their mental state, severely worried, not just a little bit worried. And then apparently when the psychologist that attended the scene said that there was no signs that in their opinion, that Nicola was having, that it was, well, put it this way, no arrests were made. That's what they said, which you thought, she wasn't taken away. Nothing was done. So when they actually, there was no action taken. So it just makes me wonder, this is one of the big questions in my mind, is why that welfare check, why the ambulance, why the police came. That's serious. That's not just somebody a little bit, having too much to drink and saying stupid things. To ring an ambulance for your family member, I think that's got to be pretty, I attended one welfare check here in Spain. Somebody that I knew that rang an ambulance for their partner, who was, had taken, the police and the ambulance went because they were severely threatening to actually end their life. And, it was a serious situation. I just don't believe you would do it for something that wasn't a serious situation. And then I still can't get over the fact then the next day she was up at the A&E for a scan on a head injury. So these are the things that really, these are big things for me. These are big things for me that I just don't understand. So there was more to what they're saying, or, it was like some sort of setup. Well, I can't say that it was. So, or was Nikki iller than we, with her mental health? And don't forget that when she first went missing and Paul Ansell sat in the interview describing her as the rock of the family and this, that and the other, and she can't be both. And yet, according to this welfare check, she's some sort of gibbering, psychological wreck with drink problems and, effects of the menopause. So, just doesn't seem right to me. But let me just read out to you what it says here about welfare checks. So apparently, according to the Lancashire Telegraph, in July, this article was, they were launching a new approach for mental health incidents. They said that they will save 4,000 hours a month as they launch a new approach to how they deal with mental health incidents. So it was launched on July the 26th, and it's called, so this wouldn't have been in place when they were called out for Nicola. It's called the Right Care, Right Person. It focuses on ensuring those in mental health crisis are given the right care, resources and expertise to help them. And there's actually, now they're saying this model has been in use in Lancashire for more than a year, and Lancashire was the first in the region to take part in the pilot. Well, they let Nicola down, that's for sure. So they're saying here in this article that since May 2022, 41,254 incidents have been triaged through the scheme, with 10,167 of those directed straight into health services. And this partnership has seen each of Lancashire's 3 policing divisions having officers working with mental health nurses to respond to the most serious of incidents, while they can also transfer callers from the contact centre direct to a mental health practitioner who can support, advise and signpost individuals. Now, we've heard, nothing's been said that there was any follow-up either from this call out of a welfare check. What was the follow-up? You know, did Nicola have to go to see the psychologist or whatever that came out? You know, were appointments made? What was the follow-up? We just don't know. We didn't even know about this until much later on either, because as I say, in the beginning, everybody was saying she had no problem. The police were saying there was no reason. Nothing to say that there was any exceptional circumstances in this case. Her partner, Paul Ansell, was describing her as the rock of the family. But, you know, evidently she wasn't. She couldn't be both. She couldn't be the rock of the family, I don't think, and then have all these problems where apparently she said she didn't want to be there. And she, you know, there was concerns that her daughters might have heard her say that, etc. So, Lancashire's Police's Assistant Chief Constable, Russ Proctor, that's another name I've never heard of. I mean, they go through names at Lancashire Police, it's like a bloody conveyor belt. Welfare checks and concerns for safety have in recent years used a disproportionate amount of police time when they are very rarely crime-related. Whilst our officers have attended these incidents and done their very best to provide the right care and support, well, not really, you know, not in Nicola's case, Russ. Who is Russ Proctor? Anyway, another assistant chief constable. How many assistant chief constables are there in Lancashire Police, for God's sake? Anyway, he said, we are clearly not always the best placed agency to respond. We know that in some mental health cases, having a police response may have a negative effect on the individual, which is not what a loved one or family member requires at such a vulnerable point in their life. Right care, right person prevents this by our partnership approach in providing the right resource, care and signposting. At Lancashire Police, we hold ourselves to a high standard, and I must be clear, this scheme has not stopped us from attending incidents where there is a threat to life or where a crime has been committed. It's about working smarter to provide a better service. Okay, so, you know, he says it's unacceptable that officers should spend hours in hospital with patients awaiting mental health assessments or placement. Well, Nicola was not taken to hospital, was she? So whatever the decision that was made when they attended was that no action needed to be taken. Now, I want to read to you now. I'll just make sure you're all okay there. You're all okay? Oh, hi. Hi, Mal. Nice to see you. Yeah, hi, Wesley. I may have missed people coming in. I'm sorry because I was reading the thing, but if I have, sorry. Okay, now I want to read you what they ended up. Oh no, I will read you this article first. So, at the inquest, I think I'll share this one actually. So, at the inquest, when the family gave their evidence, this is what they said. Nicola Bulley had been looking forward to the future before her disappearance. Paul Ansell said there had been concerns about her drinking and she had a blip over Christmas, but was back to herself by January. Well, do you know that just doesn't. Now, what does that mean? There'd been a blip over Christmas, but was back to herself by January. But on the 10th of January, that's when the welfare check was ordered. So that doesn't make sense, does it? Because what was the blip over Christmas? Is it, you know, because there was a blip over Christmas, but back to herself by January. What was the blip over Christmas? I think she looked very unhappy at Christmas. I think whatever, you know, well, problems don't just start at one moment, do they? They probably maybe had been coming for a while. But I think at Christmas, I don't know, it just all didn't feel right somehow. But anyway, the family called 999 with worries about her welfare. So here we go again with this family. The family called 999. Who is the family? Do they mean Louise or do they mean Paul? It certainly wasn't Dot and Ernie, was it, who phoned the family? On the call out, Dr. Teresa Levy said the 45-year-old appeared to be intoxicated but did not wish to engage. Well, I wouldn't want to engage either, because, come on, I mean, you would be angry if your family phoned the ambulance just because you were drunk. I mean, what? There's more to that. We know, you know, there's more to that, and you know, maybe it's private. I don't know, but it would explain a lot if we knew more about that. Maybe. Well, no, she can't be, because Teresa Levy said she appeared to be intoxicated but did not wish to engage, but she did not say she appeared suicidal. Anyway, Dr. Levy said she worked alongside a mental health crisis service who were called on the 10th of January to the mother of two's home address. The doctor confirmed to the coroner this was following Ms. Bulley telling her sister about not wishing to engage with her children and not wishing to be here. And this is, you know, it's a very sort of, just a lot of people who go on to do things to themselves do say that, I don't want to be here. I do know that of a friend of mine, her partner's brother did it, and he would say that. And they thought he meant that he didn't want to be here, as in living in Spain. You know, or that's it. When someone says, oh, I don't want to be here, what did she mean? Does she mean I don't want to be here and be alive? Or does she mean I don't want to be here in this house? You know, what does she mean? I mean, it could well be that there is more that we don't know that she'd said to her children. And this about not wishing to engage with her children. I mean, every photo that you see of her with her children, she seems to be engaging pretty much, doesn't she? You know, so I don't know. You know, it just all seems odd. Anyway, describing the encounter as brief. So she probably was there talking to Paul, talking to Louise, and she had a brief meeting with Nicola, and she said in a review of the service provided to the Bulley family, it was found that she'd been in receipt of the crisis service even though she did not wholly meet the criteria. So there's another cryptic. So everything's cryptic, and they wonder why everybody's wondering about it. Everything is cryptic. So she was in receipt of the crisis service even though she did not wholly meet the criteria. What does that mean? And then Mr. Ansell, giving evidence, said she had a blip over the Christmas period, but in January she was back to herself, which obviously wasn't back to herself, because on the 10th of January phoned the ambulance. He said she had a good day the day before she went missing. She came home full of beans, excited with work, with the meetings she had and plans for the year. And this is from the inquest. Mr. Adley, senior coroner, asked Mr. Ansell if Miss Bulley had any suicidal thoughts, and he said he was a partner of 12 years, and he replied, there were a couple of throwaway comments during the blip period, but nothing that gave me any concern. He broke down in tears during his evidence and had to leave the room. And he said she was an incredible mum. He said Nikki was a quiet person who enjoyed the simple side of life. She was a very private person and she kept herself to herself. And then her sister, Louise, told the court she always had things under control. She was a planner, a busy mum, and juggled a career and family life. And Miss Cunningham also said there was a blip in her sister's mental state in the month before her death, but she was back on the HRT medication in January, back to work and back to the normal Nikki. But again, evidently she wasn't, because on January the 10th, they had to call out this ambulance. And Miss Cunningham said her sister was drinking more heavily over that period. Well, you do drink more heavily over Christmas. I really don't like this way. You know, it's like when somebody's not there to, you know, say their side of things, and it feels like everybody's like, you know, saying these things, and Nikki cannot sort of defend herself. It's like making her out to be some mad woman, or I don't like, you know, it's horrible. Her sister was drinking more heavily over that period where it was Christmas, for God's sake. However, she added, she's never confided in me about any suicidal thoughts. And Miss Bulley's mother said, well, that's Dot, isn't it? Everything was normal the day before her daughter went missing. Dorothy Bulley said she picked up her granddaughters from school on the 26th of January and looked after them that evening. She said, we sorted the girls out and everything was normal. She fought back tears after she described giving her daughter a kiss and a cuddle goodbye. Very sad. And Miss Bulley's father, Ernest, also cried as he talked about saying goodbye to his daughter. He said she was a great daughter, sister and mother. We couldn't ask for any more from her. And then the KC, the solicitor, spoke, which is very strange, isn't it? And she said that they believed her death was a tragic accident. And that is what led to the result of the inquest being accidental death rather than an open verdict, which, as you know, I'll never accept this accidental death verdict. Should have been an open verdict. There was no proof of anything, you know, accident, suicide, even or foul play. There was no proof of anything in particular, so it should have been an open verdict. But anyway, it wasn't. It can still be. It could still be changed in the future. It doesn't mean it can never be changed, but it's just, you know. Anyway, there's been much. So the solicitor said there's been much rumour and suspicion and speculation around Nikki's death. But the family very clearly of the view and submit to you that the rumour and speculation is allayed completely when looking at the evidence. There is no evidence. Anyway, I don't want to go into all that crap. So just to let you know, that's what happened at the inquest. Let's just see how you're all doing. Hope you're all okay here. Yeah, hi Wesley. Okay, so what's the next thing? So then I want to just read to you what they say. Remember the College of Policing report. And I realised as I was looking at this, I've never gone through the appendices. I need to go through the appendices one day as well. I've gone through the whole College of Policing report. That again is on the playlist if you want to listen to it. But this is the particular, just the bit about the welfare check that I want to read you. So let's see. Okay, so on the 14th of February, further information was received by the investigation team, suggesting that the events of the 10th of January were known about by some members of the local community and journalists. This is Mark Williams Thomas that brought all that, you know, they learned that he'd been talking to the neighbours. He was supposed to be going to do an interview with Paul Ansell. And, you know, so they had to release them this information because he was going to make it public anyway. Mr. Ansell had called 999 on the 10th of January for an ambulance response. So here they're saying Mr. Ansell, but in the inquest, they said it was Louise who called. I mean, these are the sort of things that are like, you know, make people wonder, isn't it? This conflict of facts. What is the fact? You know, was it Paul or was it Louise? Anyway, as a result, multi-agency response corridor attended the family home. No arrests were made, which always strikes me funny that they say that, because why would any arrests be made? Anyway, and the matter was resolved. And this matter was later referred to the Independent Office for Police Conduct and no action was deemed necessary. I'm going to look at that in a moment. So a number of journalists made enquiries to the Lancashire Constabulary M&E team, asking specifically about the attendance of the multi-agency response car, including an investigative journalist planning to interview Mr. Ansell, that's Mark Williams Thomas, and Nicola's family friend who acted as a community spokesman or spokesperson. So Mr. Ansell was aware of this, and according to the family liaison officers, was also aware of commentary regarding this on social media. As a result, Lancashire Constabulary became significantly concerned about the potential impact on Mr. Ansell's safeguarding and welfare. This is, Joe, it so rankles me this, that they worried so much about Paul Ansell's safeguarding and welfare, but Nicola was attended by that ambulance. That who worried about her safeguarding and welfare? Anyway, they then took the view that a press conference was necessary to provide additional investigative detail about the disappearance and rectify any misreporting about the attendance of the multi-agency response car on the 10th of January to mitigate the risk to Mr. Ansell. Anyway, so that's the reason why they did the press conference with Rebecca and poor Peter Lawson, who is not with us anymore, who died of natural causes at the age of 50 and no inquest necessary. So I just wanted to read that out to you, and then let's have a look then. So what happened was, after the call, the welfare call out, and the fact that it turned out then Nicola was found dead, not long after, an independent review, of course, was made. Or you just think, what? It wasn't independent, of course, not in my eyes anyway. So let's have a look at that. So this was, I've been looking for, there's no report to find, there's no publication of that, which to me I think is there's not a report like the College of Police in Review, and you've got that bloody massive report, 150 pages or whatever. As far as the investigation into the content, the IOPC report, well, there is no report. They made an investigation into the contact between the Lancashire Constabulary and Nicola Bulley, but there's nothing that you can read and download like you can with the College of Policemen report, or I couldn't find it. I've been looking for it today. All we've got is this. So let's have a look. So, investigation concludes into the contact between Lancashire Constabulary and Nicola Bulley. The IOPC investigators have completed their investigation into the contact Lancashire Constabulary had with Nicola Bulley, and the police say, the IOPC say, following a referral from Lancashire Constabulary on the 21st of February, we started an independent. It's just not independent. Why do they say it's independent? It is not independent. It's as little as independent as you could possibly get into for the contact the force had with Miss Bulley on the 10th of January. Our investigation, which concluded on the 4th of April, so they've done so it's taken just a couple of weeks, focused on the actions and decisions of the police officer who attended Miss Bulley's address. Who was this police officer? And is he still, or she still? Of course, I don't think we know if it's a man or a woman, but are they still in the police? I mean, who were they? Why did they not have their camera turned on? And if you believe that they didn't have their camera turned on, The team comprised of a police officer and health professionals who were responding to a concern for her well-being, and the IOPC investigation examined whether the police response was in accordance with policy guidance and training. After a careful review and analysis of all the evidence, we identified 2 areas of learning. So this is what came out of this first report. 2 areas of learning for Lancashire Constabulary in respect of updating its guidance documents for multi-agency vehicles to ensure all police officers working in this role understand what is expected of them, as well as the provision of guidance for officers more widely when dealing with similar situations. We also identified 2 areas of learning for the officer which relate to recording information on police systems and activation of body-worn video. So this particular police officer seems like they did not record the information on police systems and they did not activate their body-worn video. Do you know, I just don't believe that. I honestly do not believe it, because you know how many, God, you know, on my social media, you know, on Twitter, I follow a lot of these police forces, and they're always putting things up of you know, people they've arrested or incidences with their body. That is going to be like a basic thing that they know that they're supposed to do. I don't believe that they didn't put it on. All I think is they just don't want to show it. And this about relating to recording information on police systems. So what they're saying is this person not only didn't switch on their body cam, but they didn't record the correct information on police systems. So out of all the cases, it just happened to be this case, this high-profile missing persons case that this happened in. Anyway, IOPC Regional Director Catherine Bates said, "Our investigation has identified important learning for the force in relation to the policing role in multi-agency vehicles, which aims to assist the force in their response to similar calls in the future. Our thoughts remain with Miss Bulley's family and friends and all those affected by her death." Yeah, they always either start off with that or tag that on at the end, don't they? So basically, that was the IOPC report, which was just, you know, not. But so I was talking about my hair. I haven't had a colour, actually. I've just washed it. I promise. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Mello. Hi, Caroline. Exactly. Areas of learning that will never be undertaken. Do you know, Bridget, this is my hope, what Bridget says. Yeah, maybe they are still investigating. You know, we can hope, can't we? We can hope that they are. Anyway, so that's as hi, Susan. That is the IOPC report. That is all we know. That's all they said, was that, you know, these areas of learning, it's not a big report like the College of Policing report. I couldn't even find a written report. That was literally it. What I've just read out to you there is literally it. There's nothing else. Now, something I wanted to read to you, because I don't think I'd actually seen this. Let's have a look. This is just some comments from the coroner at the inquest that we have sort of seen, but I just thought it's always good to just remember what was said, because obviously we're quite a long way, you know, it's over 6 months ago now. So let's just see what he had to say. This is the coroner's summing up, more or less. That concludes, let's see, where shall I start from? Yeah, no, I'll start from up here. Okay, the death of mum of two, Nicola Bulley, has officially been recorded as accidental. Dr. James Adderley, senior coroner for Lancashire, delivered a conclusion of accidental death after listening to 2 days of evidence. The coroner concluded there was no third-party involvement and no evidence to support suicidal intention, leaving a tragic accident as the only possible explanation. But it could have been an open verdict. Mortgage advisor Nicola had taken dog Willow for a walk after dropping her daughters at school on the morning of January the 27th. She was last seen alive at 9:10 by fellow dog walker Claire Chesham. 8 minutes later, she turned up the volume on her mobile phone, which was connected to a Microsoft Teams call. At some point within the next few minutes, she placed the phone on the bench at the side of the river wire and placed Willow's harness on the floor. Her partner, Paul Ansell, told the inquest the harness was removed. And this is just not true, because I've got so many photos of Willow without with the harness still on. And this is, Paul changed what he said here from what he had said in the interview that he did with Dan Walker earlier on in the while Nicola was still missing. So he told the inquest the harness was removed when passing through the gate to stop it getting caught on any bushes, as the dog is erratic. He speculated, so the dog's erratic as well as Nicola. Everyone's erratic except Paul. He speculated that Nicola may have placed the phone down on the bench to allow her to attempt to put the harness back on Willow. Again, speculation. Dr. Adderley said the exact reason Nicola entered the water cannot be determined, so it should have been an open verdict. But he noted evidence which outlined the difficult nature of the area where she did so. This included an almost vertical drop and a base where a stone wall had been built to prevent further erosion but had no footholds or handholds. Yeah, come on, but it was shallow. Anyway, as such, falling here would lead to entering the water, he said. Concluding the inquest into her death, at County Hall, Preston, he expressed his condolences to the family. He recorded her death as accidental, and she fell into the river and suffered cold water shock, died within 10 seconds, remember, ruling out suicide. And he said, excluding a couple of comments over the Christmas period when she was acting out of character and were treated as throwaway comments, there's no indication of any intention to take her life. Again, they're talking about, now we don't know what these comments are over the Christmas period. You know, they're saying then she was better by January, but it was January. I mean, am I in a parallel universe here? Am I like, missing something? They keep saying she had these blips over Christmas, but she was better by January. But on January the 10th, they phoned the ambulance for her. So how does that even make sense? What were the comments over the Christmas period when she was acting out of character? Okay, so he says then, that concludes the evidence touching upon the death of Nicola Jane Bulley, known to her family as Nikki. As I said at the outset, my condolences are and remain with the family on their loss, and my appreciation for the dignity which they've borne themselves during this inquest. As set out in the opening of my inquest, an inquest is a fact-finding investigation that attempts to answer 4 questions. Who has died? Where and when the death occurred? And by what means a person died? This inquest is not dealing with the police operational response, which is the subject of a separate investigation by the College of Policing. So, Mr. Andrew Edwards, he was the one who identified Nicola, wasn't he? He was the oral and maxillofacial surgeon at Royal Preston Hospital. So that's as far as the identification is concerned. And then he goes through Nicky's movements. Oh, and then the Fitbit, Keith Greenhalgh interpreted the Fitbit verse of for what she was wearing. The Fitbit, I think the timeline in the Fitbit have just been a nightmare, personally. So there were no further steps recorded on the watch after 9:30. At 9:20, her phone was located by 3 handset pings to be in the area of the bench. And at 9:22, Nicky's watch recorded a significant spike in heart rate of the data series examined. Penny Fletcher was walking her own dog and arrived at the stile at the side of the bench at 9:33. You know, it's like, what's your look? You know, like the just in that, you know, there's loads of people go there and walk their dogs all the time. And the next minute there was loads of people there, wasn't there, later? But that very 10 minutes, there was nobody there. Very strange. Anyway, she found Willow running loose, Nicky's mobile phone on the bench, still connected to a Teams call and a dog harness, which was later found to have a retractable lead attached to it, midway between the bench and the river wire. Mrs. Fletcher said there was no one in sight, so she tied Willow to the bench with some twine. Which is strange, because then Anne-Marie Fletcher said that the Willow's, you know, extendable lead was attached to her neck. Anyway, it's all strange, isn't it? This provides a maximum window of a time of 15 minutes between the last known point that Nicky was alive and when she was not present in the area of the bench. There it goes on for Thackeray's load of rubbish that he, you know, we watched that. That again is in the playlist, the video that he provided showing that the river is so shallow, basically, that he had to, you know, he was paddling through it, you know, ridiculous. Anyway, then that was all the thing about the. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all those things because we're again in the playlist. There's videos on the inquest, the inquiry reported from the inquest every day, and all the details of the inquest are on there. So I'm not going to go through it all on here. I just wanted some basic things. So there you go. That's where we are, or you know, that's where we were. And of course, you know, the thing to me that just seems the strangest, if you like, out of all the strange things, and you know, bear in mind there's loads of what's the word? Loads of conflicting information in this case. But the thing that's just striking me here the most is that they keep talking about blips over Christmas, but she was better by January. And then January the 10th, they called an ambulance out. So what were the blips over Christmas then? That's what I'd like to know. Anyway. Okay. Now, oops. I'm going to show something. So basically, as I say, the reason I'm doing this video is it is the 10th. I've been thinking about what was going on. We've seen inside the house now and everything, and it sort of gives me chills because you don't know what was going on in that house. You know, obviously Nicola was very unhappy for whatever reason. Will we, you know, and I've vacillated between thinking, you know, is there something, you know, I don't know what the full story is about Paul and Nicola's relationship. You know, who knows? We don't know for certain. There's so much that we don't know. So you can only go by your feelings, really, of what you feel. And I don't know them personally. So it's a difficult one. But this, I think, you know, there is just something in me. And I'm not the only one that feels there's something strange. And I'm going to show you a video now from another YouTuber. And this is Sonia Paulson, which a lot of you may have watched her videos. And she did, what's the word? She did an end of year review. And she actually brought up Nicola. This is the other thing that gets me. So why are people talking about it? If this is, you know, what is making this case still being talked about a year later? You know, why? And the reason is because things don't add up. And she actually says this, Sonia. So what she did was she asked her Patreons what they would like her to talk about in the end of year review. And one of the things that her Patreons asked her to talk about was the Nicola Bulley case. So that's what we're going to watch. Yeah, she's a good, I like her channel as well. So anyway. So I hope she won't, I don't think she might. I've showed her videos before. I'm hoping she won't mind me showing this one, but we'll see.
People repeatedly asked me to cover in this review was Nicola Bulley. Now, Nicola Bulley, a British mum who we were told drowned in a shallow, slow-moving river and was found weeks later. This was at the start of 2023, over the period. She went missing on January the 27th. She disappeared while walking her dog in Lancashire, in England. Lancashire Constabulary, the police force that was overseeing Nicola's disappearance, said there was no evidence of either suspicious activity or third-party involvement in her disappearance. They quickly stated that their working hypothesis was that she had fallen into the River Wyre, where close to where she was walking her dog. But there are, you know, the thing about this story and the reason why it endures, even after the coroner's report, even after the College of Policing did an investigation into the investigation of Nicola Bulley, the reason that people still have questions is because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. I mean, it really is that simple. So let's have a little look at it, right? So the police almost immediately put out very personal information regarding Nicola Bulley. They suggested that she had problems with menopause. Shocker. Who doesn't when they go through it? And they suggested that she had a problem with drink. There were definitely suggestions from them that she was somehow mentally unhinged and could have harmed herself. But all of the evidence around her suggested otherwise. She had dropped her children off at school, walked her dog. She got involved in a Teams meeting with the firm that she worked for. She was forward planning play dates for her children. There was so much that didn't suggest that she was on the verge of taking her own life. It was very, very peculiar. And Lancashire police came under quite serious fire, quite rightly, in my opinion, for the investigation of Nicola Bulley, because something was just completely off regarding it, no doubt about it. And let me just go over some of the timeline here. On February the 3rd, the police stated that they believed the circumstances of Nicola's disappearance were not suspicious nor criminal and did not involve a third party. They speculated that she had fallen into the river, and that was met with much criticism and skepticism from people online, from Nicola's family. And Nicola's family said that this was just unsupported by the evidence, and quite rightly so. The evidence did not support any of these working hypotheses. And since when do police put out a working hypothesis? I've talked to a number of police about this, and they're like, why was Lancashire Police just offering up so much information so publicly right at the beginning? Didn't make any sense. Well, quite rightly it didn't. Anyway, also you know, when there are big stories that are blown up to the degree that Nicola Bulley's story was, you have to look, is there another agenda that is being worked on here? And yes, there were other political agendas that were taking place at that moment in time, including the online harms bill. The online harms bill which is now passed into law. That
Yeah, so this is interesting what she's saying, because right in the middle of all this that was going on, if you believe in these kind of, that online harm bill came in, you know, the thing that's going to sort of make it more difficult for people to, you know, because at the moment, you know, you can't say whatever you want. You know, YouTube are really, they are actually quite strict. You'd be surprised what they'll sort of flag up words. You know, when people make comments and that, sometimes in the hidden comments, because what YouTube will do is take off anything immediately. When you make a comment on YouTube, they'll take it off if they think if one of the flag words comes up or whatever. Or sometimes I don't even understand when I find some comments sometimes in my hidden comments. I think, why is that in hidden comments? Doesn't seem to have a, you know, you can understand if it's got the F word in it or if it's got some, but if it, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't really understand how they work it out, or how their bots decide what's suitable comments or not. But of course, you know, on social media, people have been able to say, you know, more or less anything really, haven't they? So this bill came in at the same time that all this was going. So, you know, Sonia, she does believe in like things like that. So that's just one reason she puts forward, possibly, for example. Okay, let's carry on with that.
There was an idea that online detectives were getting in the way of the real police work. Actually, I have to say that some of these people online were doing work, were doing excellent work. They were asking questions that the police should have been asking and were failing to. But nonetheless, it was.
Well, they're like it when it's true, because you know people were asking questions and they would make it out as if people were being like nasty. No, you know, it's not being nasty to ask questions when things are not clear. You know, it's that's not being nasty. That's just human nature. When something doesn't make sense, people want to make sense of it. I mean, all this sort of hate towards, especially TikTok. They had this thing about TikTok, didn't they? It's like, oh, just the TikTok detectives and stuff. It's just so over the top, ridiculous.
Being used against them, this idea that they were getting in the way, that they should have been nowhere near the scene, all of these sort of things. And it was worrying, because it was like, oh my God, you know, are they going to use what is being said online to clamp down on the rest of our freedom of speech on the internet? The initial search into Nicola's disappearance was focused on potential witnesses. They had a woman in a red coat who was spotted on CCTV walking a dog near where Nicola disappeared. She was later identified as a 68-year-old woman who confirmed that she had not seen Nicola. Then the police also released a CCTV image of another woman who was seen pushing a pram in the area, and the police later reported that the woman had come forward very quickly. But there were a cast of characters, and some of them have not been accounted for in the reports to date. And one of them was a man in black who was said to have been seen.
Exactly. So this is, I feel like I need to make a documentary about this case, but how long would it take me? Because if you sat down, wrote down all the different things and put them all together, this man in black that was never accounted for, you just, oh, there was nothing to do there. You know, oh, nothing to do with it, nothing to, you know, oh no, we don't know who he was and we haven't accounted for him. He hasn't come forward, but we know he's nothing to do with it. You know, it's just like, what? You know, you've got to account. You know, where's the? He may have had nothing to do with it, but the thing is, he should have come forward. They should have appealed for him to come forward. We didn't even know about him till the inquest. He should have been appealed to come forward to exclude him from inquiries. That's what the police do. I've bloody watched enough crime things to know that that's what they do. If they, what was one recently where they were asking for someone to come forward who'd been seen near the scene of some crime or whatever, and they asked for them, and they came forward, and there were nothing to do with it. That's what they do. Everybody knows that. Not just ignore them and say, oh, well, yes, there was this strange man in black there, but you know what? Yeah, he did have a machete in his hand, but no, he had nothing to do with that stabbing. I mean, come on. You know, these are the things that are ridiculous.
Close to the scene, walking towards where Nicola was. So here's the thing. Here are some of the questions that were left remaining. The police claimed that Nicola had gone into the water, but why hadn't they searched the water sooner and with more professional equipment? And the coroner's report concluded that there.
Now, I don't think that's true, because they were searching the water from the very first day. They were searching the water from the very first day. So that's not quite true. And they did have proper equipment, despite what Peter Falding says. I know, Peter, he's gone quiet, hasn't he? Where's his... I'm just still waiting for Peter to... Where are we? We're on the 10th of January now. Come on, Peter, where's your experts backing up what you've got to say?
Was, you know, no dodgy business, that Nicola had drowned. And, you know, the thing is, it is absolutely possible that people can drown in cold water. Cold water shock is a thing. I've interviewed people whose loved ones have died from cold water shock. So it does happen. But what didn't make sense, it was a very slow moving river, and she was only found like a mile away 3 weeks later, her body. So there were lots of things that simply didn't add up. And that is why people have question marks about this story. And also Peter Falding, who was a diving expert and who went in with sonar equipment, he wasn't called to give evidence to the coroner.
No, I don't think Sonia knows the full story here, because no, Peter wasn't called to give evidence to the coroner, but she never mentions about him then later coming out with this crap that he'd actually found her body. Nobody will ever convince me that's true until he actually goes to a sonar expert. You know, he keeps talking about it. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. Didn't take him long to go to 2 YouTubers and a fake psychic and show them the sonar images. But it's taken him months to go to get a sonar expert to actually back up what he's saying. Keeps saying he's going to do it, and it's just still not happened. So I don't believe a word that Peter says. And anyway, I don't think it makes any difference. But Sonia doesn't go on to mention anything about that, so I don't think she knew. Maybe she hasn't gone into the case in depth,
which was bizarre, because the whole point about a coroner is it's a fact-finding mission. It's about finding out what happened. It's not about finding people guilty or otherwise. It's about finding out what happened that led to the death of that person. And also, witnesses had also recorded hearing a scream around the time that Nicola had disappeared. And it's a very small window in which Nicola was said to have disappeared. And, you know, there were searches of the river, searches of the riverbank, found nothing of interest. It was very peculiar. It involved police dogs, helicopters, drones, assisted by coast guards, mountain rescue and fire crews. Members of the public helped with the search. There were unprecedented levels of mainstream and social media interest in the case. And, you know, absolutely, the police investigation and search was, I think, personally, a travesty. And so do many people, even though they've been absolutely cleared. In fact, the report into their investigation concluded that the police investigation and search was very well conducted by Lancashire Constabulary. The fact is that they set a certain tone. They portrayed an unhinged woman. It met the national definition of a critical incident, but they failed to investigate it as such. And even though the report concluded that it was...
Yeah, that was a big thing, wasn't it? And they even admitted that. I think no, people have to remember what they do admit in the College of Policing report. They did admit that they failed to notice it as a critical incident. To me, this is my opinion, from the beginning. The police went along, they totally just immediately decided she'd gone in the river because of what they'd been told by her partner, and they never took it seriously enough. That's honestly. And then by the time they realized that they hadn't done it right, it was too late, because you know, the genie was out of the bottle, if you like, and they just couldn't get back in charge properly because they totally boxed it up from the beginning. And I think that's why all these people are disappearing from there. I think they're having a big clear out because I think nobody came out of it shining, did they, from the Lancashire police? Nobody came out of it like, you know, with the gold star. It was just like they were all crap, really. So yeah, and then poor Peter Lawson, he died, you know, probably from the stress if he wasn't bumped off or whatever. Sonia, see what she says about that. She's a little bit suspicious about that.
Was lawful for them to have released the personal information regarding Nicola? Was it actually right? As I say, I've talked with many police. There are many questions remaining. In fact, police officers tell me that Lancashire Police got it absolutely wrong from the start. And this report into the police's behaviour, which can be found online, almost raises more questions than answers. The truth is almost a year on from her disappearance and subsequent finding of her body, many people still do not believe the official version of events.
Yeah, and you think about that. That's and watch what she's going to say. And I agree with her with this. That was exactly what I think. It's not many cases are there that, you know, all this time later people still don't accept the official version of events. And is that because there is more going on behind the scenes, or is that because it you know, it was just such a, you know, and all these you know, there's lots of ridiculous theories that have come out about, you know, because as a result of that, and they just get more and more bizarre, don't they? But she's right. And then she goes on to talk about see if you can think, what's the other case that's been very similar? The only other case really that you can think of, in my memory anyway, that has been similar, that has gone on for years and years and years of people wondering what has happened. And she brings that up. You wonder what you think, which case you think it is.
And then to make things even more curious, after the College of Policing's report was released in November 2023, in December 2023, the senior police officer who had led the investigation into Nicola's disappearance was said to have died of natural causes. Now, he was only 50. So I actually think that's quite unnatural to die of natural causes at the age of 50. That was Assistant Chief Constable Peter Lawson. Lancashire Police issued an update about his death and said there would be no requirement for an inquest, quote, the force said funeral arrangements will still be made. When his death was announced, the force said his death was believed to be, in quotes, medical related. And the coroner for both Nicola Bulley and Peter Lawson was Dr. James Adderley. He's the senior coroner for Lancashire, and he was involved in ascertaining the cause.
Mr. Adderley, the celebrity coroner who's on the telly but says he won't talk about cases. Oh my God, he's another one. The amount of people in this case that I thought that were respectable and, you know, I should respect, and now I have no respect for. There's just so many of them. Everybody in this case, they're like pigs in a trough, just trying to sort out and make money. You know, he's making £200 every time, or the Lancashire Council selling the inquest transcript for £200 if somebody can prove that they're a proper person. But apparently YouTubers are flashing this around. So how did they prove they were a proper person? Or if they got it off someone else who proved they were a proper person? Maybe some investigative journalist that used to be a policeman, or, you know, who knows where these things come from. But this is what, you know, everybody's trying to sort of, nobody, like with the Foulding thing, he's not interested in Nicky. He's not interested in reopening the investigation. He's just interested in proving that he is right for himself. He doesn't give a a crap about Nicola or her family, because otherwise he wouldn't have shown those images to 2 YouTubers and a fake psychic. So, you know, he'll never convince me that he cares about Nicola. He doesn't. He's another one.
Cause of death for both Nicola and Peter. Now, the thing is, I don't wish to find mystery where there is none, but this whole story, Nicola, Peter, simply just does not add up on a human level. Something feels off. My solar plexus is not happy about this. And this is the problem for many people. We're left with more questions than answers. Human nature needs to make sense of situations before it can actually rest and accept what we're being told. I have a similar reaction to the story of Nicola Bulley as I did about Madeleine McCann back in 2007, and that has never, ever gone away. Things simply do not add up. Things simply do not make sense. And
yeah, I think she's exactly right. The Madeleine McCann case that has never made sense, probably never will, to be honest. We'll probably never know the truth about what happened to Madeleine. Somebody there mentioned Rachel Nickell, which is true. That did happen for quite a long time, but now we do know about Rachel Nickell. Her murderer is in prison, isn't he? Maybe one day I'd like to do a video about that, because, of course, Colin Stagg was arrested. That was a miscarriage of justice for Colin Stagg, wasn't it? But anyway, he's out now, and the real killer is in there in prison. I miss some people saying hello. Hi, Red Bull. Hi, Paulie. Hi, Mark. Sorry if I've missed anybody. That's interesting. Somebody just telling me there, I think it was Paulie, about the mother being arrested in the Savannah Soto case. No, I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that because I've been researching this all day today. But yeah. So yeah, it is. It's exactly that. Is exactly how it feels to me. It's like there's just something, when you just know. And I am normally right. That I'm right. That if I feel that there's something wrong, there normally is something wrong. There's something in this case. I'll be eternally hopeful that one day something comes out. It doesn't change anything. Nicola, poor Nicola, she's not with us anymore. But I do feel like there's something more that needs to come out. It's just a feeling. Ali, sorry to hear you've been poorly. I hope you feel better soon.
It is absolutely clear to me from both the coroner's report into Nicola Bulley and then the College of Policing report into Nicola's death that there were some very strange things taking place at Lancashire Constabulary. There were officers who didn't take part in the review of the investigation because they were busy. They were not available, but yet they'd been involved in the investigation. Doesn't that sound weird? That sounds really weird to me. But I'm pretty certain that this is one story that is not going away, that will be discussed, debated, and analysed by internet sleuths for many years to come. And again, when I asked my patrons what they were interested in about 2023, one of them said to me, and I'm going to quote her, "I'm wondering why such prominence in mainstream media was given to the suspected suicides of 2 unknown women in middle age when so many go missing, and there are sadly a dozen or more suicides each day, all of which have last sighting CCTV images." My patron, of course, was referring to the December disappearances and dying in similar circumstances to Nicola Bulley, and that is Gaynor Lord and Claire Marshall. And
so this is interesting because I think we've all noticed it feels like, oh my God, every day there's a case of a woman being found in a river or disappearing, and of course Gaynor Lord and Claire Marshall, these were 2 other women, but there's been others. And I think this is because of the Nicola Bulley case. I think if the Nicola Bulley case wouldn't have happened, we probably never would have even got to know about these women. Because once the press, the mainstream media, realise that people are interested in that case, because I suppose what they do is they put cases, when they're deciding what news to put on, they want people to read their papers, they want people to watch the television, want people to click into their articles. So they must, when they realise that people are interested, because that's my opinion. I don't think there's been any more river deaths than normal, except the other thing. The other reason could be if these ladies had seen about the Nicola Bulley case, it may have given them the idea to go into the river. If when they decide, if they were suicides, when they decided that they were going to take themselves off this planet, they might have, because of hearing about the Nicola Bulley case, that may have helped them make the decision to do it that way. I don't know. I'm just saying that's a possibility. But personally, I think the reason it's in the media so much is because the media have realised that people are interested in it because of the Nicola Bulley case. So the media will report on things that they, that again needs to be researched to see, have there been more river deaths this year of sort of middle-aged women, or is that just a coincidence, or even a consequence maybe of what happened with Nicola? So it needs some more investigation. But she's right. Suddenly there seems to be all this attention placed on river deaths that maybe was never placed on it before. Because I know the things I'm reading now, I don't ever remember seeing it, but I am on sites, like I'm on police sites and I'm on Facebook sites that talk. So is it because there is more, or is it just that I'm on my social media is reflecting more of that because of the Nicola Bulley case? So I'm not sure.
It is curious to me that we have this spate of women who are apparently dying in rivers during 2023. And, as a journalist, I look for patterns. And is that a pattern? Is that a pattern to be observed? I'm not sure. But I do think it is interesting and curious why so much attention was given to both Gaynor Lord and Claire Marshall. And I suppose it's just one of those sort of watch this space kind of things, really, right? Let's move on to politics. Dear me, Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister.
Look, don't worry, we're not going there. But if you're interested in politics, it'd be a good thing to go on to her year in review, because it's very interesting. She gives her view of everything. So, but we're not going there today. We're here to talk about Nikki today. So, yeah. So that's it. You think, why would someone like Sonia, or anybody really, be we've seen lots of videos. Everybody's talking about this case. We saw the video where that guy on Talk TV referred to it as a terrible murder, and it was like, what? It's generated so much attention, and there's few cases that generate that same kind of attention. The Madeleine McCann case is one, of course, and that's still not resolved. And then, as somebody was saying about Rachel Nickell, that at the time was a similar type of case in the sense of the attention, and then I suppose. I was going to say Susie Lamplugh, but that's not been resolved, I suppose, as well. The estate agent, and then the lady off Crime Watch as well, Jill Dando. So there's been a few cases here and there. Still talking about who killed Jill Dando, still talking about what happened to Madeleine McCann, and it feels like, doesn't it, that maybe this will be one of those cases and it's all the discrepancies. It's the discrepancies, the things that don't make sense. Like saying saying at the inquest that Nicola's sister had phoned the ambulance, but then in the College of Police and Review it says that Paul phoned the ambulance. The things of saying that she had blips over Christmas, but she was okay by January, but January the 10th, they phoned the ambulance for her. So you take all these sort of inconsistencies into account, and that is why people are still talking about it. And I don't see that changing, to be honest. Do you? I mean, I don't see that changing anytime soon. that I don't see that people are going to stop completely talking about it. It'd be one of those things. Too many unexplained things. Hi, David. So you said David Barry's saying that he's, another reporter said it was a murder. Yeah, and the police actually described it as a crime scene. And didn't the policeman say something about another murder inquiries or something? So, you know, it's still up there, isn't it? Now, something else that I wanted to show you. Now, another thing that I saw on Facebook, if I can find it. Oh, come on. Sorry, take me a little while to find something. I've got a new thing I wanted to show you. Right, I'm going to have to look on. Anyway, I wanted to do this video today because it is the 10th, and I was thinking about, you know, what was it like? What was it like for Nicola that day? She obviously was not happy. You know, she was not happy. Things were wrong. You know, now I want to show you, hang on. I just, you know, it makes me feel sad to know that at that time, this time a year ago today, Nicola was so unhappy. You know, and it just makes you think, doesn't it? What was going through her head? What was going through her head that morning? She looked angry, didn't she, on the CCTV? She seemed to stomp off. That was the way it felt to me. I mean, maybe she didn't, I don't know, but that's how it felt. Right, hang on, I'm going to show you something. Now, I'm going to share this. Somebody has put this on Facebook today, which is, now I can't confirm that this is Nicola's gravestone. Somebody has put this on Facebook today, and it's got all, I don't know what these markings are on it. Somebody's trying to what's the word, copyright it, I suppose, or to make sure that people know it's their photo. Fair enough. But yeah, this is supposedly because, you know, it was the little wooden cross, wasn't it, that was up there before, and now we've got the gravestone. Again, I haven't confirmed it. This is just a photo that I saw on Facebook, so it may not be her gravestone, but in loving memory of Nicola Jane Bulley, much love, mum, partner, daughter and sister. That's nice. Sunrise, 12th of October 1977. Sunset, 27th of January 2023. Aged 45 years. A last goodbye you did not say, but in our hearts you will always stay. So there you go. As far as I know, that is the gravestone, but you know, not, you can't be certain that everything you see on Facebook is true, but I know it's unbelievable that it's nearly been a year, isn't it? It's unbelievable that it's nearly been a year. Yeah, Julia, I saw that because they originally gave the date of her death, didn't they? The date that they found her, I think. But I think once the coroner decided that she died within 10 seconds of falling in that water on that day, then that became the date of her death. So it's very, very sad. Yeah. Very, very sad. So, you know, as we're coming up to the anniversary of Nicola going missing, etc., I will be doing more videos nearer the time, etc. You know, I didn't, you know, we'll wait and see if Peter Falding comes up with anything, but I'm not holding my breath for that. So, but a bit of fun that we're going to have this month. Remember, we're going to do the Burns night on the 25th of January. I have received only one Scottish thing so far. So come on, I want you to send me anything to do with Scotland, like could be a bit of tartan, a kilt. So because coming up to Burns night I'm going to do a Burns night live. I'm quite looking forward to that as well, because we've got to have some fun as well. Life's too short. I'm at a funeral tomorrow, so it's like, for God's sake, you never know. My student, my friend, she is a friend as well as a student, and her husband, they were literally sat watching the television, and he just had a stroke, and that was it. Boom, finished. Not instantly, but she took him to the hospital, and then by the next day it was all over. So that's how, and that came out of nowhere. And he wasn't that old, he was only in his late 50s. So what I'm trying to say is, you never know the moment, do you? You never know the moment. So you've got to have some fun as well. You've got to talk, we talk about serious things and we look at serious things, but sometimes we've got to have some fun too, because you're only here once. You've got to make the most of it, and it just makes everything else seem so ridiculous, doesn't it? There's silly little things that we worry about. There's so many important things that we should worry about, and make the most of every moment that we've got. So on January the 25th, which is a Thursday, which is normally members live, it will be an open live, because I'm going to do a Burns night. We're going to do a Burns night. So Julie Dawn says, oh, what colour knickers do we need to wear? You have to wear tartan knickers, Julie. Try and find some tartan knickers. Hi, Wendy. And we'll be, I'll be lighting a haggis, and I'm gonna try and do, the proper sort of because there's a procedure for a Burns night, isn't there? There's get your haggis, get your neeps. We need some fun. We're going to have fun on that night. Yeah, we are going to have fun on that night, definitely. Well, we're going to have fun tomorrow night as well in the members, of course. Oh yeah, we haven't even gone into Jason yet. Have we, Paulie? Do you know, it's like there's so many things in this case. You literally could write a book or do a document, one day I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write all the things down, and maybe I will look at doing some sort of a mini documentary on it, because there's so much. You just think, where do you start and where do you finish? And of course, over the year, so many things changed, and that's so. But anyway, yeah, you can get a veggie haggis. I don't know if I can get one here. Yeah, blank faces. You do that. Yeah, you do that, because I'll probably just get too angry. It makes me really angry, to be honest. Gets me very, very angry. Hi, Desi. Have you got a note for being late? Yeah, the Highland Fling. We'll do the Highland Fling. Do you know, when I had a Burns night here, in my classroom, we had a Burns night one year. Oh, it was really good. And we did do the dancing. We stripped the willow, and what the other ones is quite few. Strip the willow. Oh, I can't remember all of them. Maybe let's have a look. Well, we had one of the ladies that was there, one of the women that was there, she is like an instructor. Like, she showed us all, because the Scottish people that were there knew how to do it, but us English people, we didn't know how to do it, but she showed us all how to do it. It was brilliant. Paulie, yes, get your kilt out. Get your kilt out. And we don't want to know what you've got on underneath it. Oh, dear. Yeah. So put that as a date in your diary, the 25th. Anyone, for all you members, I'll be back tomorrow night with the members live. So I've not decided what I'm going to do that. You're already, look, it's already giving us a laugh. Yeah, it's it's good because everybody, it's it's already given us a laugh. We need a laugh after we've been talking about these sad cases. But yeah, just when you think like this time last year, that was what was happening in Nicola's house, was an ambulance was being called out for her. So, and tomorrow, the following day, she was up at the A&E with a head injury. And it's Desi's birthday tomorrow, of course. So I hope I don't know, maybe you're going out, Desi, but we're going to celebrate birthday as well anyway. I'll be singing happy birthday to you in Spanish, as is the custom. Too cold. Too cold to wear a kilt. David's getting his David, you're getting your caber ready, according to Charlie. So, yeah. Oh, dear me. Okay. So thanks for being with me. It's been, it's been, gosh, it was only Sunday the last time I was on live, but it felt like ages. Because, of course, I'm back to work now. So back to the Spanish classes now. So I don't have so much time to do videos. But, yeah. Everyone's Scottishness is coming out in them when I'm talking about tossing. Yeah, David's tossing his caber. Sky, my email is Vicky Marie Chats at, I don't know. Well, my app's not working on my computer, so Vicky Marie Chats at gmail.com. Oh. Yeah, Essex Boys Outlaw, you've got to come to the Robbie Burns night because, yeah, David's caber is most thick at the base. Oh, dear. Okay, I'm going. I'm definitely going. So remember to live and love wisely, carefully. If you see a Scotsman in a kilt, ask him what he's got on, if anything he's got on underneath it. I could tell you so many stories about this, but I'm not. I'll probably get binned off YouTube. So, and as always, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And for those of you that are members, don't forget Members Live tomorrow night. So we'll have a bit of fun in that as well, as we always do. Oh dear, these jokes are already coming in about the Burns night, so I'm really looking forward to the Burns night. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye all. Thank you. And may your God go with you, or may your caber go with you. Bye.